What is up, YouTube? Monster Chappy, we are back for another defensive tip. Again, in the red zone area of the field. This is going to be a great coverage defense for the goal line area, for the red zone. Anything inside, probably I'd say the 15 is ideal, but it can also work from the 20 to 15 range as well. But anything inside the 15, this defense is freaking awesome. Let's get straight into it. Formation we're going to be in is the 3-4 odd. You can find this in any 3-4 playbook just about. And go with the cover 4 drop show 2. Now, what you need to worry about offensively, what are people doing in the red zone? They're going to go with a high point pass. They're going to go with some sort of high pass on the outside. They're going to go with the flat route. They're going to go with something underneath, or they're going to run the ball. Those are pretty much the 5 things people are going to do. This defense does pretty well against all 5 of those things, which is why I like it and which is why I have a lot of success in the red zone. So, difference between the cover 4 and the cover 2, these 2 safeties back here have a lot less area to cover, so they play the middle a lot more, and thus they do a lot better job against those high point passes. And even if somehow the wide receiver gets his hands on it, a lot of times the defenders will be there to break it up, just strip the ball out as he's catching it. He's going to get hit by one of the safeties and broken up by the other, or hit by both of them, or it'll just be congested, so he'll drop the ball. But either way, those 2 safeties are going to do a good job against those high point passes. If you are inside the 10, corner routes and C routes, these deep blues are going to do pretty good against those. And let's first get into the setup so you can actually see how everything's supposed to look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to baseline press coverage. You do that by hitting Y or triangle, and then right on the D-pad, and then Y or triangle, and then down on the D-pad. That's going to get your baseline press. Then you're going to shade underneath by hitting Y or triangle, and then down on the right stick. The next thing you're going to want to do is pinch your defensive line. Now, we've got a couple other steps here. There's a couple different setups here that I'll give you guys, but again, I've had a lot of success running it like this. What I'll do is I'll bluff blitz this middle linebacker here and user this middle linebacker, or bluff blitz this linebacker here and user this middle linebacker. Now, an additional step, if you're going against a player like Vic, Russell Wilson, Kaepernick, they got quarterback there. Regardless, they got a speedy quarterback. If you're worried about the quarterback taking off, what you can do as an additional step, you go ahead and spy one of your D ends or your D tackles, somebody that can at least somewhat keep it with the quarterback, and then go ahead and blitz the player that you're using. You're not going to actually blitz in. You're just going to have them on a blitz in case they run the ball. Not everybody gets pancaked. That is the reason for doing that. You always want to have at least 3 guys rushing, and then you're going to drop back into coverage in this area. Now, who are you going to want to use on this play? You're going to want to use either this linebacker or this linebacker. Either of the middle linebackers, again, just bluff blitz the opposite one, and then go ahead and use her, and you're going to cover your area. You're going to cover the middle. You're pretty much just going to lurk whatever looks like it's going to get open. That's what you're responsible for. But this is a pretty solid coverage defense here. I'm just going to bluff blitz him on the opposite side here so that you can see him in coverage. But as you can see, we're just going to lurk everything underneath, drop back. Anything looks like it's going to get open, that's where we're going to go. All right, so it's just a coverage defense. Hopefully your defensive ends can get some block sheds. The faster they get in there, the better off you're going to be. But as you can see, we got most of the field locked up here, and you're just going to pretty much lurk. If they look like they're going to take off with the quarterback too, you can also help with the guy that you're using with because you're going to be pretty close to the line of scrimmage regardless. So one thing a lot of people like to do in the red zone, again, like I said, those are the 5 things you're going to be worried about and these C routes too. C routes, a lot of people like those C routes. The deep blue will actually play the C route perfectly when you're inside the 10 or so. But when you bring the ball back to, let's say, like the 18, 19, 20-yard line in that area, then you're going to have issues because the C route will actually beat that deep blue. It'll get underneath it, and you're going to be able to pick up a nice play offensively. We don't want that. So what I'll do, again, baseline press coverage, we're going to actually go with a purple zone on the outside there, curl flat, and pretty much the rest of the play is the same. And again, another optional step you have is to bring the safeties down. That can help in the run support. It can also make sure that they play underneath in case your opponent, again, goes over the middle or something. But when we run this setup, you'll see now that when they try to throw this C route, that curl to flat is going to be there. AJ Green just got so nasty on that corner. Like, yo, I don't know if I'll ever use the Ravens again after he just got that. I don't know who this right dude is. Should have put Jimmy Smith over there. But hopefully your corner and mud is decent, or salary cap or draft champs, whatever the case is, whatever mode you're playing, hopefully they're decent. Like I said, a lot of times, though, they'll lock it up. Just this Williams dude is just, I don't know. Right. He's got to go. Wright's got to go, man. I don't know what's going on with this guy. He's making me look so bad right now. Oh, my goodness. But in all seriousness, though, that curl flat does slow down C routes pretty well. Not motion C routes, but just the C route sitting out there, it does a really good job of slowing those down. And a lot of times they'll pick them off. So that's when you're a little bit further out if you're thinking they're going to go with the C route. And even if they were to just run like a fade or something, you know, that it's going to stick with him pretty well. He's not going to get beat deep just because the field is shorter. So this is strictly a red zone defense. Keep that in mind. With that said, another thing people like to do is they will run verticals and try to go with the high pass to LaFell. Again, this works pretty well against that as well. I know I'm throwing it from way too far out. But this does a good job against that. Now, let's get into why we bluff blitz and blitz the other players here. And that is pretty much to stop the runs that folks are going to do. Halfback draws are really good against cover 4. As you're going to see here, we run a stock cover 4. I covered this already in my offensive tip, how to beat cover 4. Halfback draw was one of the tips I had. So what do we want to do? By having him bluff blitz, bringing him down a little bit, bringing him down a little bit. But by blitzing this middle linebacker here and usering him, you should be able to come through that gap and make a tackle. Now I'm going to use it the defense this time. I actually use it the offense. All right, so let's set this up again. This time I'll just use it the defender. You just want to come up, stuff for the lane, and force them to go somewhere else. You know, really just force them to go somewhere else. A lot of times, though, if you do it right, you will be able to get into the backfield when they run these draws and just hit them in the backfield a lot of the times. So that is why we go ahead and, you know, set up the defense that way so that we can slow down the draw. Now let's say they go with the halfback base or inside zone. Those are the two really other runs people are going to use from shotgun. Same thing, bluff blitz. We're going to go ahead and man uphill here. I would usually blitz again, but just to simulate usering. So that I can use the offense. So this is what the play looks like. Again, if we use the offense here, geez, they really did not do a good job there. But what you would want to do is user him, bring him over, and make a tackle. This time I'll use the defense. And they will run that same play. You can bring them back a little bit if you want to. But if they run that same play, you just come over, make a play, and both of your safeties are in the run fit, so they're going to do really good against the run. The only run they struggle against is the draw. That's when the safeties kind of have some issues. But against everything else, as you can see, they are in run fit. So Weddle's going to come up and make a play. Webb's going to come up and make a play. So you really just got to get one of your guys to get his hands on the ball carrier and get a big hit, big tackle, and make something happen that way. You could also try and shoot the gap a little bit if you want to. Not something I typically do, just because I don't want to give up a big play like that if I miss. But that is an option. Let's go ahead and run this down here. But yeah, that's it, man. That's it for our red zone defense. It's a real simple setup, but it really is effective. You can really get some big time stops in the end zone there in the red zone area, get some interceptions, and most importantly, force a lot of people to take 3 points. 3 points is a win if your opponent gets to the red zone. I've played so many games now where they get inside the 20, and I'm able to just consistently keep them to 3 points there. Between this and the blitz C that we went over in the last video, guys, you should feel very comfortable in the red zone area. That is where my defense excels. Had a lot of success that way. Another thing people do is run this 4 verts, and they'll bring him out there. This does well against that as well. So really, there's some weaknesses. You can definitely beat this defense, but I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like, I've had a ton of success running this defense, and a lot of times if they run that play, that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna catch it, and he's gonna break it up, and you're gonna have 2 or 3 guys over in that area. But yeah, that does it for me, man. I really hope these last 2 videos have helped you out. Defensively, we'll get into some gameplay and some more fun stuff here in the near future. But till the next time, guys, y'all take it easy. Take care. Be safe. Be gone.